Hey, I'm Thom Pankhurst, and on behalf of Rebellion Guitar Company, I'm presenting to you the Mezzabarba MZero Overdrive. So this amp is Mezzebarba's attempt at making their personal ultimate amp. There's some really cool stuff going on with the Mezzabarba range, and if you're not familiar with who Mezzabarba are, they're sort of a new amp company from Italy, and they're designing these ridiculously well-built point-to-point soldered, handcrafted amps, and yeah, they've got some really neat features. So before we jump into any of the specs on board, let's have a listen to how it sounds clean. So I'm using an SMP Tritti, which is a T-style guitar for this. I'm also using a 2-notes audio captor, and that's going into Get Good Drums Zilla plugin for any of the IRs, because I'm currently running this head just into the load box and without using a cab. So the M0 is a 2 preamp channel amp. It goes from really clean all the way to like some metal tones, which is amazing. The main feature and focus of this amp is on those like breakup tones and sort of like those bluesy overdrive sort of sounds, but it also does some really nice like boutique level cleans and also really nice high gain stuff. So essentially in the first channel you're getting from clean to like a really dirty rhythm tone, all controlled from the drive knob. But then there's also some other features. So there's a bright knob, and that obviously makes it brighter. You're getting a little bit more top end, a little more transient through. And then when you engage the boost switch, you're engaging a boost in front of it, so you're ending up with some really nice breakup tones. On top of that, the foot switch enables you to add on another boost, so you're essentially stacking 2 boosts. So I've decided to demo this using the T-style guitar for those nice single chord vibes. I've gone from pure clean to bright, then with the boost engaged, and then with another boost engaged on top. So hopefully you can hear some of the massive difference in tone that you're getting. I've kept my EQ fairly level, so it's basically all at noon, so you can get a really good idea of where the amp sits naturally. And then the drive level is roughly 2 o'clock in that position. So you are pushing the preamp tubes a little bit more, but it still retains its clean character, which is really cool. So hopefully there you can hear that there's quite a large difference in the different levels of gain and the different gain staging you can get out of this amp. I personally found it really, really nice where it starts to break up just a little bit. I'm running some reverb separately from the amp in Logic for this, just so you get an idea of what it sounds like potentially with some wet effects. The next thing I wanted to demo was using the amp to do some of those like classic rock sort of sounds. So I've sort of broken it down. There's some really nice single coil on the bridge sounds that are going on. You can really hear that the harmonic presence is totally there the whole way through. So you're getting all those chimey overtones as a result of that breakup, and that's really nice to hear. So for the lead tones on this, I'm using the SMP Guitars Orpheus. This has obviously got humbuckers, and that's going to enable you to just get a better idea of how it sounds in those sort of earlier breakup gain stages without the overdrive engaged. So the thing that really makes this amp stand out is the negative feedback control that you have as a knob on the front of the amp. If you're not familiar with what negative feedback is, a Google search will probably explain it better than I can and in more detail. This amp has control over that, which means that you can dial in the amount of feedback you need depending on taste. To demo this, I've literally just played the same thing and I'm just moving the knob around so you can get an idea of what it actually does. It clearly thickens it up the more you turn it up, and it thins it out the more you turn it down, which would make sense considering it feeds it back. So keep an ear out for the characteristic changes in that mid-range as a result of me tweaking the knob. So I guess the last question is, does this amp do high gain stuff? Yes it does. When it's in the overdrive mode, you're getting so much gain. Considering that you have the overdrive and then a boost in addition on top of that as part of the amp, you're getting just a ridiculous amount of gain. Particularly with the feedback engaged as well, you're getting some really thick, crunchy, like overdriven tones. You're getting some really like tight metal sounds as well. Obviously it's more of an overdrive rather than a like a distortion, but that's really nice, and you can really tell the difference when it's plugged in and when you're hearing it in a mix. It's like you just got that little bit of extra detail in that mid-range, which really makes it stand out. So hopefully as a result of this video, you've been able to hear like the enormous range that this amp can do. It's really, really cool to have an amp that does those really high gain things and also have such a nice clean channel. It's kind of rare, but the main thing with this amp for me was in particular the mid-range and the way that sat. So for instance, when it was just breaking up and when you're using it with single coils, it felt really, really nice to play. The feedback control is obviously something which makes it sort of stand out from competitors, and having control over that level of mid-range articulation is really, really cool, and the way it sort of fattens up that sound is something that I'm going to be missing on other amps, I think. The amp itself was really easy to use, so it's just got a standard EQ which affects both of the channels, and then it's got a depth and a presence knob as a master EQ as well, which obviously add in some of those lower end characteristics and some of those higher end characteristics in an EQ. The amp is obviously amazingly versatile. I think if you were looking for like one amp that can do it all, this would probably be one of those things that you should definitely look at. If you've enjoyed the video, leave us a like, subscribe to Rebellion Guitar Company to see some really, really cool gear, because they're obviously getting bespoke things in and custom orders and boutique gear, and that's amazing. So subscribe to see more stuff like that, and I'll see you in future.